for this meeting. I know my client is there. I don't have to be like, oh God, sorry. Probably you did not comprehend what I was saying. I don't have to change the whole thing because
when you're in that place,
because I don't want my client to be like, hey, I carry lawyer come. Now lawyer comes for my case. Hello everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm super excited to have you watching this video. My name is Mary. I am a practicing lawyer in Nigeria. Also, I am a real estate consultant, and on this channel I share videos for laymen and also for lawyers. If this is your first time on my YouTube channel, you need to click on the subscribe button. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you for always and always coming back to watch my videos. I have my beautiful friend doing this with me again. I hope you guys enjoyed the previous video. So Ruth, please introduce yourself once again.
Okay. Hello, everyone. For those that do not know me, my name is Ruth Ikrigwe Solomon, and I'm the founder of Legal Root Solution, an SME and startup lawyer.
Okay, Ruth, thank you for joining me again. So myself and Ruth, we actually made a video, and I feel by now it should be on the YouTube channel. So today we'll be talking about the different opportunities for lawyers.
Yeah.
I know many people are actually of the opinion that black and white is boring. I don't want to go to court. I don't have the confidence to go to court. I don't want to cram cases. Though we don't cram cases. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. There are other opportunities. It is not all about litigation. Litigation is just the one that many people know. So we were talking about, I think we have a list of about 14 to 15 opportunities. Yeah, that we will be discussing, just about 13 to 15. So you can be a lawyer. There are many people that are lawyer and they are lawyers rather, and they don't want to be into the litigation thing. I have friends that like we said in that previous video, if you're not practicing and you're doing other things like wig making and all of that, they are not bad. But actually I have friends that she's into fabrics and she's doing well. And sometimes you see my post and she'll be like, oh no, Mary, sometimes when I see you, I feel like something like I need to go back to. I said, no, it all depends on what you're passionate about. So for her, if she doesn't have the passion, like she'll be like, she always say that the pay is not attractive, is not this. And I said, fine, it's always like that starting.
Yeah.
It's always like that starting. But you don't have to fit into the litigation aspect. There are other opportunities that you can just you have your certificate as a lawyer and you don't want to dump it or give it to your parents like, okay, now you send me to go and read law now. This is your certificate. But you still want to, that's not fair. And you still want to make use of that your certificates as a lawyer. So we'll be talking about the opportunity. So let's just dive into it. So the first thing we'll be talking about, and I'll be taking the first one, is let me allow Ruth to take the first one.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. First point is the dispute resolution sector. So we have ADR, and I believe as a lawyer, as a new week, you should be familiar with that. And even in litigation, before we proceed to actually file a case, we do mediate, like, okay, instead of going to court and staying 2-3 years in court, let's just do this within a month and settle it. So you can actually, after your LLB BL, you can go further to have some certifications in this aspect. So you can be a mediator, arbitrator, yes. So you can just, and that'll be like a mini court where you can just deliberate. You just be like a judge and help people. It will be like a win-win. Oftentimes it will be win-win for both parties. Unlike court that you go and you all know all this thing. I don't need to go into more. So basically you can go into that sector if you don't want to be wearing black and white. That way you can wear a pink dress like myself or wear a black and brown dress like my friend. Okay, so you can just dish the part of colorette, wig and gown and all of that. So you go now.
Okay, so the next one is company secretary. So this aspect is actually a huge aspect because a company secretary is actually like the legal bodyguard of the company, and then it has huge prospects in it. Most times it is based on experience rather than expertise, even though expertise is part of it. So what do I mean? For instance, most company secretaries will have to be at least maybe 5-7 years or even more. Most of them are like 10 years of 10 years at the bar. So it's actually, but now recently I've seen company secretary opportunities for 5 years, 6 years, 7. The only thing is that you have to have other things added to it, maybe an LLM, maybe a certification like chartered secretaries. You could also add that. It can help you along that ladder easily, So a company secretary, like you are the legal bodyguard, you keep the minutes of the book of the company, you help them to comply. It's a whole lot, and you can earn a lot. You can earn from
Yeah.
400,
Mm-hmm.
500, 600, even a millionaire, depending on the company that you're working for. So, but if you want to go that path, then there are things I would advise for you to do. Like I said, get chartered ICE scan, and then also an LLM would help you to get there faster as a company secretary.
Okay, thank you, Ruth. And I think she have more knowledge on this because she's actually into corporate practice. So probably I will just drop her YouTube channel link and our Instagram link. So if you want her to even mentor you, because on this aspect I don't know much. Okay. So the third thing opportunity we're talking about is lecturing.
Mm,
Though many people are of the opinion that there is no much money in lecturing, but and I see many of those people who are lecturers that they also have other things they do.
mm,
Like many of our lecturers in the university, they are also in active practice. Do you
yeah.
understand? So you can, if you have passion for teaching, you can take that as an opportunity. I have a friend that he had the first class from Nigerian law school, and because of that, he's there to get the LLM, and people are already saying he should come and take a lecturing job and all of that. So I don't think it's require much of
Yeah.
you having LLM and all of that. Though I think if you have LLM, you become a doctor, you earn more. That's
Yeah.
just the advantage. So
The
if you want
opportunities
to,
are more.
yes, if you want to look into this line of opportunity, I would advise you to have a mentor. It is not that difficult for you to get a mentor. We all pass through universities, so we can just maybe your supervisor while you were doing your project in 500 level, that could
Mm,
be somebody can just send a mail to, like, okay, you're looking towards this part, can he or she put you through on how to actually navigate that particular opportunity. So that is all I have for that aspect. So let me give
okay,
Ruth the okay.
something to add to lecturing too. Another thing that you can also do if you want to go into lecturing, like she said, you should have masters. Like know that you're cut out for education. So masters, you should not
Mm-hmm.
waste time immediately after your service or even while you're serving. If you can do your masters, do it as fast as possible and go for your PhD. There are universities where their masters are cheaper than others. If you're in Nigeria and you cannot afford to Japa, or you go to Aberdeen, you go to Manchester, you go to Oxford, or any of those top universities in the world where their school fees are in hundreds of thousands of dollars. But in Nigeria here, 500K, 1 million, you can be done with everything masters, right? Or even lesser. So you can look for anywhere, and while you're practicing, you're doing your masters, because most masters program are actually part-time, and even those that are full-time are just for a period. So that's another way. So as you're doing that masters now, that's when you can now get a leeway, to even apply as an assistant lecturer, in the this. Make sure that the person you are following is the person that is in the system,
Of course.
not somebody else. Someone that is not in academics might not be able to rightly guide you. And then when you're in your masters, for instance, I'm actually running my masters too, so that's why I can say that. So you should also have publications, work on your publications. It's actually a whole lot to it. And then another thing is that if you have the opportunity, if you can apply for scholarship or anything, one beautiful way is to actually go outside the country and do it. And if you can come back in 1 year or two, it's actually better. So the next point is about the bench. So if you're a lawyer, you already know that in Nigeria we have the bar and we have the bench. The bench are the judges, the magistrates, court of appeal judges, supreme court judges, justices, and all of that. While the bar are the lawyers, the senior advocates, and a whole lot of those good stuff. So now we're talking about the bench is actually an opportunity, another way. So there are many lawyers that actually desire to be at the bench, and it's actually a good dream because we need, people in the judiciary, because cases need to be decided. And one of the issues that we are faced in Nigeria judiciary is delayed cases. Why is that? Sometimes the number of cases that a judge has to attend to is too much compared to the judge, one judge attending to 15, 20 cases in one day. At the end of the day, most times you see that maybe he will not be able to finish it before he retires, or he might be transferred. And there's so many other things. So we need more judges. That's what I'm trying to say. So it's an opportunity. And even from your 1 year post call, you can actually be a magistrate. I have friends that while I was that year, as a 1 year after we were called to the bar, that's after service, he was appointed a magistrate, and I appeared before him. He was my colleague in the university. So it depends on your state. It's also a part you
Yeah.
can actually pull. But if you want to be a high court judge, then you have to be at least 10 years at the bar, and then you have to have recommendations from the NJC, from the body of lawyers, Nigerian Bar Association, and it's just easy. But if you're a magistrate, it's also another way. From being a magistrate, you can go to the high court, but you can still go as a lawyer to the high court, and then from the high court to the court of appeal, you need, I think, 12 years experience, and then
Yeah.
Supreme Court, you need 15 years experience. This is a long time if you're seeing it now, but if you invest correctly, invest your time and your energy correctly, it's a good way, because judges earn, I think, depending on the state, between 650 to 1 million naira monthly, and it's not a bad deal. And so it's something that you could actually also choose. So I think that's it.
Yep. Thank you, Ruth.
You're
So,
welcome.
I think she really, really covered that aspect well. So the next point is you can also go this opportunity of content creation, like legal content creation, just like what we do. Okay, she is doing more into the business aspects. I do the real estate aspect, and I'm also doing the general legal tips and all of that on Instagram and also on this YouTube channel. So you can also take that opportunity, and that's where the world will even know you, reckon with you, like, okay, this is a lawyer. He is somebody that's actually doing something. Not like other lawyers are not doing something, but you just have this a bit little bit of opportunity, like you'll be more seen than others. Okay, and it's not that saturated right now. Like it's just few lawyers in Nigeria that were into this content creation of the thing. So if you have the what it takes, okay. So another thing is, you before you check any of this thing that you want to do, another thing is, are you passionate about it? Like, if you're not passionate about something, creating this video, filming this video alone today, it require a lot from her. She has to leave her own activities for today and to come here and filming, and a lot of things are happening, and refilming and all of that, and you editing and all of that too. So if you know you have what it takes, you're not somebody that will just be like, oh, I don't think I can cope and all of that. So you need to check that. So content creation, legal content creation, legal aspects, actually another beautiful thing if you don't want to do this black and white thing. But another point you need to know is, if you're into legal content creation, you still need experience. You can't say you're not practicing and you want to be giving dishing out
You can't give
advices
what
or
you don't have.
so how do you want to get it? So I
Yeah.
feel this legal content creation of the
Is
thing
hinged on
cannot,
every other thing. Cannot
yes,
walk on its own.
yes, just like
Cannot
I'm
stand
into
alone.
litigation, I'm doing this. She is a corporate
Lawyer.
lawyer, and she's still doing content creation, legal
Yes.
content
From the
creation.
experiences you have, that you're able to do that. That's how
Yes.
you're able to share content. That's how you even know the pain points of your target audience. So you can't just sit down and just create something where you don't even know the audience that you want to serve,
Mm-hmm.
or you're not passionate about it. You
Okay.
give up in the second month if you last.
Okay.
So the next one is corporate practice. Okay, so this is corporate practice, and this is what I'm very passionate about. So, um, corporate practice is actually very huge. We have commercial under it. Even part of bankruptcy is still under it, if you want to actually be. Then we have capital markets, and then a whole lot. Corporate practice is really just about companies, the laws regulating companies, their secretarial duties, there's company regulations, there is insolvency, like winding up of companies. There are lawyers that are licensed insolvent agents that
Mm-hmm.
do that. Yes, I had course to do one recently, and then I was like, okay, I didn't even know that they had to be that licensed and all. But not just lawyers, even there are external auditors that are lawyers. They are not the regular lawyers, but they are licensed to do that. They have a body actually. So corporate law is actually very vast, is wide, from regulating companies. There are different aspects. That's just the truth. There are different aspects. There's legal compliance, there's secretarial duties. That's what I talked about, company secretary. There's one that just has to do with business, and then there's capital markets, shares, talking about stock exchange, talking about bonds, talking about securities. We even have lawyers that work with the Security and Exchange Commission, still under the corporate law. So you have, maybe you want to list a company on the stock exchange, you know lists, and all of it's actually very broad. So my advice here would be, go for what you want, decide what you want, and go for it. So most people think that corporate law is just CAC registration. It's not true. That's just like the tip of the iceberg. Is one, it's just a percentage, maybe like 10% of actually the entire work of what corporate lawyers do. So it's actually a big world out there, and then it is hugely untapped because many business owners are not even aware of the laws and what they ought to do. So you have an audience, you have passion for it, you can create content around it, you can become a company secretary like I earlier explained, you can become a compliance legal officer, you can work with the Security and Exchange Commission, you can literally work with every organization because every organization has a corporate aspect to it, because even public companies file, you have to file your annual returns, you file your statutory, all of the statutory filings you're supposed to do, you do that. There's even annual tax returns. There's a whole lot to it actually. So if you want to go into it, I give you my big blessing. Go for it.
Okay, thank you, Ruth. Okay, so the other point I'll be talking about is a real estate, to become a real estate lawyer. And this aspect is actually, can I say, a noble one, because it doesn't really take, don't get me wrong, it doesn't really take so much.
God,
When we talk about when we talk about you being a real estate lawyer, just about you doing due diligence for people like a buyer and estate developers. You also help them to get necessary documents for to cover their property even before they also invest in the particular estate, before they go and buy probably a vast a large land and start selling. You also check, is it encumbered? You need to do all of that, you being a real estate lawyer. So that is you working for estate developers. So when we talk about you helping people who want to buy, to also check if what they're about to buy to invest is also worth it, if the vendors are genuine, if the title documents are genuine. Do you understand? So these are things that you can even do within the comfort of your house.
So avoid what I ordered versus what I got.
Yes, yes. So and it's also possible for you to even have it. And this particular aspect, you don't need much expertise. Yes. Though it is important for you, if you want to go far, to get some courses done and all of that. You're a lawyer and you can do due diligence.
Yeah.
You can do due diligence where these people don't know, to do research and all of that. You can do all of that.
Yeah.
If the land is subject to litigation, you can do that and tell, oh, it's not advisable you invest in this kind of a property. Okay, you can also go to land registry of where the land is located to check if there is any caveat on the property. So you don't really need much licensing. But if you want to go into, like the way I am actually planning to go into it, you may need more courses and all of that. Okay, so it's just another aspect of another opportunity if you don't want to wear the black and white and start going to court. Although it may require you in some aspects to also delve into the litigation aspects. If, for example, if you don't do what you're meant to do, if you did not do a robust due diligence and probably there is a problem along the line, and they paid you for the service, definitely they want to come to you like, but we paid you for this, and you want to rectify that. So then you may not need to go to the court and all of that. But if you don't have the experience for the litigation aspect, if you have a friend, that is why when she mentioned, I don't know if it was in this video or another video, that you need to work with other lawyers. So you can just, oh, this happened to me. Oh, what can we do? Can you help me with the and definitely that your colleague will not be charging you as if the person is charging a client. Do you understand? And she also mentioned in that video that you can also make mistakes. So that's just a part of, if you make a mistake in those aspects, how do you rectify? Then probably it may require you going to court, and a colleague can also help you have the knowledge in the litigation aspect. So that is that for real estate lawyer. I don't know if you have any point to add.
No, that's fine.
Okay. So
Tax. Okay, so tax law is also a big aspect for lawyers, and we are not so many in tax. I say we are not so many because I also, by reason of being a corporate lawyer, sometimes I need, and have had to learn about tax, and then I'm actually towing the path of, getting some certifications for tax law. But what I like to say here is that tax law is a whole different ball game. It's different from what, it's different from corporate law. It's very different. It's vast. It can bust your brain. Seriously, if you're not vast in it. So if you want to, then you have to become a proper tax consultant, and then probably do some courses on tax. There's this CPA that you do. There's this certification for tax lawyers that you can actually also do. You can even work with, because accountants are the people that would naturally do tax, but there are lawyers too that do tax, right? So you have to be knowledgeable. And one advantage of this tax law that I would also like to say is, in case you are going outside the country, it's not going to be entirely new to you. Although the tax, especially in countries like UK, where they are very heavy on taxes,
Mm,
tax lawyers are one of the highly paid lawyers.
I was about to say
So
that.
because of that, if you have experience in tax in Nigeria, it might not, it's not exactly the same thing with what in the UK, but that background, the understanding of how tax works, it gives you an extra advantage. It's easier for you to get into the system. And then if you can even get a certification even from the UK while you are in Nigeria, in case you're planning to japa, I think is also a good thing. So that's an aspect actually. You help them to file the tax, you give them knowledge on all of that. It's deeper than what you know, because tax is actually a way that the government generates revenue. So they take it seriously. And when you file tax for somebody, now where you work, now you go shop. So it works. And it's very profitable.
Okay, thank you once again, Ruth.
Yeah,
Ruth has been mentioning this jackpot, jackpot, jackpot. Tell us something. Are you
oh,
planning on some?
hey.
So if after this video, I did not invite Ruth for another video,
Ah,
probably by then you people should just know that Ruth is no longer in this country. This is the
ah.
second time you're mentioning this thing.
That's the next thing on every
Don't leave us
Nigerian,
here in
any
this.
young Nigerian's
Don't leave
mind.
us
Share.
here, I beg.
No, I'm still with you guys. Sorry, I'm
It's
still
all
with
right.
you guys.
So the next I'll be talking about is sport law. This is not. We don't have many. You don't have lawyers doing this. I only know one lawyer. Probably there are more, but I know just one person. And I attended a program about 2 3 weeks ago, and the man was there, Dr. Olowononi. You should know him. I think he's a lecturer in Abuja campus. Yeah. So if you were thinking in this aspect, in this opportunity, I think he will be the best person to mentor you. If you're watching this video and probably you attended in, the Nigerian law school in probably in Kano or Lagos, and you don't know who Dr. Olowonon is, you can just find a way to contact anyone who attended the Nigerian law school in Abuja. Because he made a lot of points on during that program I went for and the conference, and he said it is not saturated. As a matter of fact, that there was a particular conference they were planning in one country, and they needed someone from Nigeria who is into sport law, and they said nobody. Like he said that thing, and I can see some form of bitterness in him. Like, so because as at then people do not really know him, and I think now he's writing books in that aspect.
Yeah.
I made mention of you mediating a what maybe a sport contract that you know how much these people earn.
Yes, no.
So money is also one thing that you can be passionate about to actually push you into an opportunity.
Yeah.
It's different if you just want to, like all these women right activists, they are not so much about money. They're just being passionate about it. But if you can also be passionate about money.
Yeah.
And you, that will actually make it like, oh, this aspect is this noble and you want to go into it and all of that. So yeah. So I don't really have much knowledge in this aspect, but as I've rightly mentioned, you can find a way to contact Dr. Lowen, and I'm sure that he will be glad to actually mentor you in this aspect. Okay, so let's move forward.
The next one we're talking about is IP, also known as intellectual property. So just as your physical property needs to be protected, your intellect needs to be protected too, and that's the law. Intellectual property is basically about protecting your intellect, right? So under that, we have your trade secret, you have trademark, we have copyright, and all of that for inventions, innovations, your artwork, and whether you're an artist or you're an artist or you're a creative, you know, a lawyer that understands this has a lot. Even in the entertainment industry, it's vast. Like we have so many people in the entertainment industry now. We have creatives now. We have social media influencers. They're all creatives actually, and they need to protect their intellectual property, right? So if you're a lawyer and you have one friend that's a celebrity, you can just get them to retain you for some bezels of thousands of dollars or naira. Yes, and then from there you can just keep hitting the road and going. All you need to do is to get the knowledge on it. There are trainings here and there that you can actually use to sharpen your edges, but basically research, trainings learnings, and you'll be good to go. There are things that you've done one way or the other before, but now when if you seek, you would find. That's basically what I would tell you here. And so it's something you can do. You could actually register trademark, you register copyrights, you could do patents, and it's a whole lot. It's actually another way of making money. There are people that are not even lawyers that are doing it. How much more you that's
People
a
will reckon
lawyer,
more with
you're
lawyer.
coming with authority. According to one of my lecturer, you become an intelligentsia, in it, because you have the knowledge, the legal implication of whatever class that is registered. We have like 45 classes. It's actually a whole lot, and it's a bit. I don't want to say it's part of corporate law, although it's part of it, because most businesses have maybe one intellectual property or the other that they want to, maybe their brand name, they want to trademark it, and the brand name might be different from the registered name with CAC. So it's actually a whole lot. You just have to do your research and get ready, and look for other people that are doing the same thing as you, or that the thing that you want to do. I think it's going to help you a whole lot in all of this advice that we are giving.
Okay, that's a nice one. The other point I'll be talking about is some aspect of litigation.
Yeah.
Though I already said it, like probably you don't like black and white and all of that, but these particular aspects, they are not as tedious as when we talk about land law. So I'm about to mention a part which is criminal law. Criminal law can also be a lot, a lot. So it all depends. We are just talking about opportunities generally. So litigation can never be out of it. So
Yeah.
we're talking about a few about litigation, criminal law. You can be a criminal lawyer. You can be known for that. You can be known for that. Yeah, in Ibadan, in places like in Ibadan, there are lots of criminal cases in all states actually. But when I was practicing in Ibadan, when I came to Abuja, I was like, no, no, no. We have more in that's in Ibadan than Abuja.
I'm just for bolas now.
So you can be a criminal lawyer and you can also make good money from it, though not in all cases, because criminal part of our profession, most times you see it's pro bono, that you see when you see legal aid too, that you go and defend somebody and all of that. So it's also a good part. It's also a good part. Yeah, you can also make good money, that way. I don't know, permit me to use this word, this sentence. Those people then will be at your mercy, like, this is a lawyer that can help us and bring that person out of the prison. That's just the mentality they will have. And they will feel if they don't pay you well, definitely you will not do the needful. Just imagine if somebody has been in prison for like 2 years, and if very first day you're going there, maybe it's magistrate, and the person is being granted bail, they will see you like a god. Like, somebody has been in detention for 2 years and all of that. So people like that, you see them appreciating you. And it happens a lot in Ibadan. They do give lawyers land,
Yeah.
though you are not meant to solicit for that. Like, probably, let's for example, in a litigation aspect that deals with land, and maybe you help them and you judgment is in their favor, they may want to appreciate you and give you part of the land, but you should not demand for it, like, after my fee you need to pay me out of it. So I'm just trying to say that these people, the clients, let me just put it that way, they actually appreciate people. You just see as a savior. So that is one aspect. We also have woman rights, like fundamental woman rights can also be somebody in that field. I actually have a friend, a colleague, though we don't talk that, but he's just a colleague anyway. So he's into that, and he's even doing it upfront, like as a pro bono, like free of charge. So that doesn't mean you cannot charge for it. You can charge for it, but in that situations whereby you would just want to, you would not have any option than to just do it pro bono. For example, if the person doesn't have money, and maybe that person has been in detention. For example, there was a time I went to the DSS and somebody was detained for like close to a month for civil contracts. Civil. Just tell me, even if it's even if it's criminal, I just feel that aspect that DSS can deal with, even in criminal aspects.
Yeah.
So how is that a state crime? And the day I went there, and there was a dispute about figures. The complainant is saying no, the money is 20 million. And she was saying, my client was saying no, that she has paid out of that money is remaining 13.5. So because of that argument, I was like, and I told the man, the officer in charge, like, why can't we just refer this thing to court? Because I know we have a good case.
Yes.
Let them go and have this litigation
Conversation
in
in front
court,
of the judge.
as relating to the figures involved. And I said, as a matter of fact, this is DSS. You don't have decision. More. It was a bad idea. They and it was even a night we had the meeting. DSS, I think they were 247 based on their job description and all of that. I ran to the group like, barrister, this is all for this meeting. I know my client is there. I just have to be like, oh God, sorry. Probably you did not comprehend what I was saying. I don't have to change the whole thing because
When you're in that place,
because
you
I
have
don't
to
want my client to be like, hey, I carry lawyer come. Now lawyer
come
comes
for
for
storm
my
my
case.
case.
Do you understand? So what I'm just trying to say is in that situation, having somebody in detention, would you do you want to close your eyes and say, okay, because you're not paying me? It would be different if those people they're actually capable to pay you and they are not willing to do that. Okay.
Yeah.
So oftentimes you see criminal aspects of this profession and the human rights aspect, fundamental human rights, you see people do it more pro bono
Yeah.
because those people are actually in detention or because of the probably the charge and all of that against them, you may just want to help them. So another aspect of litigation is family law, which I also do a lot. Yeah, when we talk about divorce, when we talk about custody of a child and all of that, some people actually they are married, but they are not married under the statute, like under the Marriage Act. It's also a valid marriage, and you see situation whereby probably they have been able to dissolve the marriage among their families, which is allowed in customary this, and the situation of custody and maintenance of child can actually be a big issue. When issues like that, like custody and maintenance, you can see us going to family courts to actually if the families cannot settle such, so they will just need a upper, how can I put it now, a bigger authority that can give an order and everybody will just abide. You understand?
Yeah.
So that's another aspect. And though people of the opinion that there is no money in the divorce cases and family, there are lots. But I know many people, our conscience just be like, what God has joined together, let no man put asunder. So it all borders on your passion. If you're not passionate, I know people in Nigeria that they are just divorce lawyers because they feel they make a lot of money from it. It is not always contentious, except when there are properties and custody and maintenance of child and all of that. So it's also another aspect. But don't forget, criminal is litigation, criminal aspects, women rights and family law, they are all under litigation. Okay? There's no way you can do this study without you going to the courts. So Ruth will be taking the last, and that will be all for this video.
So the last but not the least is tech law. Another tech law is tech basically. So tech law covers, the legal aspect of technology. So we're in the age where there is so much hacking, there is privacy issues, data privacy. We are in the information age, and because of that, many people's information are being used, manipulated without their consent. So as a lawyer, most of these tech companies are in need of lawyers that can help them ensure that they are not disobeying any or flouting any rules. For instance, most of these fintechs, most of these big companies like Meta and the rest of them, yeah, they actually need tech lawyers that understands tech. And the tech is even is a whole world of its own. It's a different world of its own. We have data privacy, we have antitrust law issues. There are so many things under it actually. And then if you're passionate about tech, I think it's also an area that you can go into. There's even the business aspect of it where some lawyers are beginning to do product management and all of that. There's UI, UX, and all of these things. The truth is that every aspect of life actually has to do with, there's a law that regulates it. There's even artificial intelligence, and but there are laws. There's blockchain. There are laws that regulate it. And you know that blockchain is like a whole world of its own. So there are laws that still regulate it. And these areas are still very new. They are still very new, so the opportunities there are much. The government wants to train people, organizations wants to sponsor people so that people can learn about it. So I think if you're passionate about it, it's actually something you can also try and develop yourself for it. Thank you so much. I
Thank
hope you
you,
didn't get bored.
Ruth.
You're
Thank
welcome.
Okay, she asked the question and that she hope you've been watching and you're not been bored. So let us know in the comment section if this has been an interesting and educative, but actually want feedbacks, right?
Yeah.
So that we know if we need to put out more content to actually help
Right.
new weeks. Okay, as senior colleagues.
You're
Anyways, guys,
welcome.
thank you so much for
You're
watching.
welcome.
Thank you, and thank you, Ruth.
You're welcome.
You're darling.
You're welcome.
All right, guys, we'll see you in another video.
Okay, bye.
Bye.